In the background of today, you might hear a cat purring, because I've got a cat right next to the microphone. I thought that had some nice sound. Anyway, uh, this is. I've just had a very busy weekend, and I thought I'd talk about it. Been a pretty cool weekend. Lots of stuff happened. First off, my school's formal, like the ball. That was pretty cool. I just went with friends, but it was it was a nice night of partying. They had a good DJ, we playing some good music. It was a very small room, in my opinion, and we had a lot of kids went, and like the room was not big enough to fit everyone, in my opinion. So yeah, when you're kind of walking around trying to find somebody, you kind of have to like, excuse me, come through. There's like lots of people all in one very small room. But it was a very fun night. So much, yeah. It was just I was a bit worried about it because of like it was like 3 hours long. Like, are we really gonna have enough stuff to do for 3 hours? But yeah, you just kind of just party, like, and then I went to an after party even after that, just at a friend's house. Um, and yeah, there was like at the ball, we had a had lot. They had a lot of good music playing, like not good music, but music that everybody likes and everybody knows the lyrics to, which I think is the best type of music to play at a school ball, like Katy Perry, and like there was they played Starships, and yeah, so we just kind of bounce up and down. I'm not usually into that. I'm not usually into big parties and raves and stuff, but it was fun. I was just with friends, so it was all pretty chill. Well, like it was all fine. Whatever. And then like a dance circle formed, and a bunch of my friends were getting up and dancing. And I looked around the circle and I realized I know every single person here. Like, this would be a good place to do some sort of cool dance move and not embarrass myself. Now, little known fact about me, I can do the worm. So, I'm like, should I do it? Should I do the worm? This would be so cool. Anyway, I'm about to do the worm, and then this random girl who I know, but like she just gets up and she does the worm way better than me. Like before I even have a chance, I'm like, oh, I can't top this now. This is a much better worm. Yeah. So I end up doing the worm a bit later in front of a very much smaller group of people, and they were like, oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, the cat's gone now. He kept walking across the keyboard, so I just kicked him out. Anyway, also during this night was the beginning of the 48-hour film competition in New Zealand, which is this big film competition where you just create a film in 48 hours. You're given like a bunch of genres, and well, each team gets given a random genre and a bunch of compulsory stuff that they have to include in the film, and you get 48 hours and you have to create a film with all those things. And it's just so that, like, you can't prepare for it before. And it started, like, Friday evening. There were so many good genres. Like, genuinely, I think every single genre there would have been, like, I would have been really keen to do. And kind of the one we got. We got found footage, and we had to create a found footage film. And I was like originally pretty happy. I was like, oh, wait, that's gonna be sick. That's actually really good for just a bunch of students who don't really know a whole lot about making films, because a found footage film is just like it's literally in the sort of theme and format to do it with a bad camera and to do it with like bad everything, bad quality, and handheld, which we were going to do anyway. So yeah, that was pretty like lucky for us. We actually intentionally got a worse camera than the camera I have, just so that the footage looked bad, and it was almost too bad. Like it was not good enough. Like there were lots of times I wish the quality was just a bit higher, because you couldn't really work out what was going on in the shot. So Anyway, the other genres though, there was like heist movie, which I don't know if you know about me, but like I think I've written 3 or 4 plays or at least short scenes, and over half of them have been about heists, including my most recent YouTube video, which I made a very heist themed video. It's like I'm just very good at doing. Well, I'm not very good at doing heists, but I like them. I really like doing heist ones, and like the sort of scenes of like assembling the team and getting all the people and like, all right, this is the plan. I don't actually really care about the heist itself. I just like the plan scenes of heists. So that didn't end up happening. We didn't end up getting that genre, I mean. And there was another genre as well, which I really, really wanted to get, which was one take film. It was like you had to film an entire film in just one take, which, you know, it's only 5 minutes long, but still, like, and it was even before that genre was announced. Like, I had that as an idea. I had like, oh, I wanted to try and do it all in one take, because like my entire friend group, we mostly do plays and mostly do drama. So like our strongest skills are going to be acting and good story, and like so it was like pretty much the best one for us. Like we didn't need to do any crazy editing or like good filming or anything, because it was just have someone hold the camera, they hit record, and then we film it. But a lot of my friends who do drama didn't end up signing up for the film competition this year, because they wanted to stay up really, really late at the ball and go to another ball the night after, which I wasn't going to, but yeah. And then in the end, I actually did stay up really late, me and the other script writers, so it probably wasn't a good idea to be writing the script while very, very tired and some of us slightly hungover, but like, whatever. So I think the script we came up with in the end was not that good. It was a pretty very, very strange film, and it doesn't really have that sort of like, I don't know, cohesive, like everything kind of comes together and just works that you kind of want with a sort of play or film or something. Like you kind of want the plot to go in a circle. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, our film was just kind of not looking that good. And then, like, we had somebody drop out and said that they didn't want to do it, and then another person dropped out and said they weren't free to do it. So then, like, the amount of actors we had was less than the amount of characters we had. So we had to, like, merge a couple of characters, and I ended up having to act, which I didn't want to have to do, because I just wanted to be, like, the guy doing the tech stuff and being in charge of everything, but I ended up having to act. So then, and then we got permission from one of the actors' mums if we could go and film the entire thing at her work. And it was the only time that was like after hours at that work that we could film at was at like 10 p.m. because I wasn't free until 10 p.m. So we did all the filming in like 3 hours from like 10 p.m. until 1 a.m. And then the second night in a row, I went home at 2 a.m. and had a very, very short sleep. I think I got like 10 hours of sleep across the whole weekend. It was not good. And then I was also like quite sick over the whole weekend, and I didn't really realize I was, because I thought I was just sleep deprived. I thought I was just like, oh, I feel really bad. But then I woke up on Sunday after getting a lot of sleep. I think I slept in until like 11, and then I was like, oh, I still actually don't feel that good. I might be a bit sick, and I was a bit sick last week, so, and I still am now, but I'm a bit better. That's why I think I'm speaking so quietly. I'm usually a bit more enthusiastic than this. But anyway, the film actually kind of didn't turn out that bad. It was it was a nightmare trying to organize. We had to do so many people like dropped out, like I said, and then I also told my friend like, oh, we need a police costume. We need like a yellow high-vis vest. And then my friend was like, oh, I've got one of those. And I was like, you've got a yellow high-vis vest? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Can you bring that along? And he brings it around. And it's like, okay, for one, it's not even yellow. It's like orange. And for two, it's like this weird like mesh one. And there's got holes in it. And I'm like, why did you think that this would work? Like, why did you think that this would look like a police outfit? So then, our police officer ended up having to wear like a blue raincoat, which I think looked more stereotypically police, but didn't really give off the vibe of like a New Zealand police officer, which we were going for. We did have cool coloured lighting that had like different modes, like a police mode and stuff that I use for stop motion. And because we were filming at night, it was all very dark, and those lights, they went further and they made it more of an impact. So in the end, I actually think the lighting was pretty cool. There were some times it was maybe a bit too dark, and I tried to like brighten it up in post, but I couldn't. So, yeah, I still think the lighting was pretty cool. Anyway, we then I did all of the editing myself on the Sunday, and we got it finished, and it wasn't that bad in the end, even though everybody, like, I don't know, there were just so many problems with organising it, and I actually very nearly dropped out just because of how terrible I was feeling. And then, and I also went to go watch a play that my auntie directed. That was pretty cool. Broke the fourth wall, like, so much, and I wasn't expecting that, but it was still a very good play. And in other news, I auditioned for a play, and I got a role at my school, which is pretty cool. It's a play that was written by two students at my school who I'm also very close friends with and know very well, and I think the script they've written is very, very funny, and I'm very excited to play in it. I'm playing this, like, old man called Grandpa Fisher, who's, like, super dementia, does not remember what's going on at any point in his, like, he still thinks he's in the war sometimes, and he's like, it's like this, he's a very old man, and he can't speak very well. And it's like, I'm starting to think, am I being typecast as old people? Because I think this is the third or fourth time I've played an old person in something. Even though I will say, I think the other few times I cast myself as an old person. So I think I can't really blame that, because I played old Wardrook and Wardrook Fandango. I played the old woman in the 24-hour play challenge, and I played the old woman in the Good Person of Szechuan. So that's 3. And then I guess I also played an old man technically in the 48-hour film competition last year, but I had no lines, and I was in the film for 3 seconds, and all I did was just lie on a bed and cough. That was literally my entire bit. But what that has mean is that I'm very good at playing old characters. Like, I've done it many times, and I've kind of got the voice for it. I can speak like an old woman. Old men I'm actually kind of worse at, surprisingly. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Not a big role. It's pretty sort of small, medium, so I can probably spend a lot of time working on the art like I do with a lot of plays that I'm in, which is always fun. And I've been doing more rock climbing. It's just always been happening. But, like, I thought I'd give an update because I feel like I haven't talked about it in a while. Rock climbing, or, like, bouldering at a bouldering place I go to. And I've improved a lot in the time that I've been going. I had to drop out of squash for the play, so I'm no longer playing squash. Sad, but I might still just play it, like, outside of my school. I'm not sure if I will, but my friend really wants me to. And then now rock climbing, I've started to do that more. I've started to do rock climbing more. And I can now climb 5/6s pretty confidently, which is a grading system that is used at my climbing gym and I think nowhere else on Earth. I think I think they're the only place that does it. So it's not. I don't know what I am on the international rock climbing scales that everybody uses, like the V scale and the stuff. But I can, if at the gym there are climbs from rank 1-2 to rank 9+, and I'm around about a 5-6. I've never been able to do a 6-7, but I can do 5-6s very confidently. Well, I can do maybe like a third or a half of all the 5-6s that I try. That's just climbs that are graded with a number to say how difficult they are. So 5-6s are kind of in the middle compared to the other climbs. And then, yeah. And there's like 4 more minutes left on the speedrun, and I want to talk until it's over, but I don't know if I'll be able to. What can I talk about? What's the thing? There's my cat here. He's here. He's purring. There should be a video out like very, very soon on the main channel. It's very, very close to being done. I could just talk about the 48 hours last year. That was pretty fun. That went much better, and we created it wasn't like the best film I've ever made, but it was pretty good. It was this. We got the genre cat and mouse, and so it's like people chasing each other. We took it pretty directly, like very cat and mouse. And the script I came up with was like this guy called Martin. Every time I do one of these, like constraint challenges, like 24-hour play challenge or 48-hour film competition, this is the 4th one I've done. We always have a character called Martin. I think there's been a character called Martin who's been probably one, like, the most central character, like, in every single film. And in a few of them as well, there's always a character called Officer Constable, which was also in Wardruk. Officer Constable made an appearance in Wardruk Fandango. He's a funny character. He's just like a police officer who's just insanely aggressive and, like, very over the top. But actually, in this year's one, he was a bit more toned down. So yeah, last year's one, it was like this guy called. One of the things we had to include was a miniature, and like when they announced that, it was like the compulsory prop, but they didn't say it was a compulsory prop. They just said your film must include a miniature. So when I saw that, I thought that meant like, oh, your film must include a miniature, like one of the miniatures they build for Lord of the Rings and stuff. So that's like, you have to build a small model of something to represent something much larger. And like, an example of that is like, the landscapes they made in Lord of the Rings and stuff. And sometimes what people do is they use miniatures in stunts, and like, it's a lot cheaper to blow up a tiny model of a house than it is to blow up an actual house or set a house on fire, for example. So I said, like, okay, how about we write into the script that somebody's house burns down? And I did. And then I built an actual little model of a house and set it on fire, and that was the opening shot of the 48-hour film competition last year, was a house burning down. Actually, it wasn't the opening shot. It was the opening shot after a shot of somebody sticking a fork into a toaster. And then, like, a guy tries to find out who burned his house down and why, and he finds out that it was this guy called Martin. And the kind of, I don't know, the idea I had last year for that one was like, we wanted to try and create a silly, funny film, but then right near the very end, it like takes a really, really dark twist and makes just the entire audience feel really guilty for like laughing and finding it funny. And it's like the entire time he burnt the house down so that he could get like the insurance money or something to pay for his grandfather's tuberculosis treatment, and his grandfather was going to die otherwise. And it was like actually the other guy who was being selfish because he was like super rich and he had everything handed to him, and it was actually all along there was a comment about class divides. But yeah, it didn't really work, and it was just kind of funny the whole way through. But yeah, Anyway, we didn't win anything last year, and I doubt we will this year because our one this year is not as good in my opinion. But I don't know, it's still alright. My friends are really happy with it. I'm less so, but yeah. And we're coming up near the end of the speedrun. There it is. Victory is mine, and I'll see you all next week. Goodbye. Actually, I'll see you at some point in the future. It literally might be later this week.